First thing I would like to say is that I'm not a licensed therapist, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a professional head shrinker or anything like that. Everything that I'm saying in this video basically comes from personal experience and with knowledge that I have gleaned from my own personal experiences in dealing with my own issues. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before I get started. The reason I'm really making this video is because someone that is very near and dear to my heart is going through a trauma that has recently been revealed to me. And this happened many moons ago. And this person and I become estranged over the course of the past nearly 7 years, basically. And so this person and I don't speak, and it's been a heartbreaking situation. However, I kind of want to reach out to people who are going through this possible same situation in their own lives with someone that has been so traumatized in their lives that they're estranging themselves from people that love them. So, something about trauma is that it can be extremely minimal, or it can be exactly what you expect it to be. We all know major aspects of trauma. You know, PTSD, main causes of that. And there are smaller forms of trauma. For instance, myself, I had babysitters that would scare the crap out of me every chance that they got, basically. So I have small amounts of trauma of being afraid of the dark, getting scared out of the blue. That's a small amount of trauma, but it's still trauma. And it's something that still affects me to this day, and I'm in my mid-40s. So, when you experience trauma, you carry it with you throughout your life, and it affects you and it grows with you as you get older or as time goes on, and it festers inside you, and you either deal with it or you let it run your life, and it does weird things with your head. And a lot of people with severe trauma often have mental illnesses. Anxiety, depression are major aspects of that. Personally, myself, I've developed dissociative identity disorder, which I discuss openly on this channel. And there's also a high likelihood of addiction issues, substance abuse, and many other things that can be related to that. Personally, myself, I have several aspects of trauma that I've gone through in my life. And I've been going through therapy for over 2 years now. and I've been finding tools and learning healing mechanisms to help me get through the various aspects of trauma that I've dealt with. And honestly, the trauma never really ever goes away. There's no like, boom, I'm cured of that trauma. I mean, in fact, most recently, I had a nightmare where I was being molested, and I was literally like screaming aloud until my husband woke me up from it. And that set off a trigger for my dissociative identity disorder. So it doesn't ever really go away, but there are tools that are out there to help you deal with various aspects of trauma. And one thing that really irks me, I think, with anybody who's struggling with their trauma and whatever overlaying aspects that go along with that, is people that sit there and look at you and go, you need help. That, to me, in my opinion, says that the person that says that to you says there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. No, there isn't anything wrong with you. You need to find a place of healing. Sometimes certain traumas can be very hard to recognize for the person who has experienced it. It could be something that happened so early in their childhood that it just got buried. And it doesn't reveal itself until many, many years later in life. Or it could be something that happened in your adulthood that you just shove aside because you don't have time to deal with it. Or it could be that it was something that happened in an era where you just didn't talk about those kind of things. And it's important to recognize the trauma that you have within yourself. And then I think that is the first step to take that is the most important. A person going through trauma is going to want to find the need to treat it. And sometimes people suffering with trauma often like to dwell in it, which is unfortunate, and it's a sad, sad rabbit hole that most people suffering with trauma fall into, which is why they're susceptible to addiction and substance abuse and other just sad situations, because they feel like there is no help for them, or there is no healing, I should say. So they need to accept the fact that there is healing available. There is outreach and support, and they need to be the ones that take that step. If that person decides to find tools to help them deal and cope with their trauma, it's a long road. It's a long, long road. And it's easier for some than others. And sometimes it's bumpier for some. Sometimes it's smoother for others, and there are tools that are out there and at your disposal. And sadly enough, some people can't afford the necessary treatments out there, unfortunately. And that's sad. That's just so sad. However, if there's any way that those of you out there who know somebody who is going through a trauma, be it past, present, just be an ear. You don't have to say anything other than I'm here. You don't have to hug them unless they want to be hugged. You can cry with them if they're crying. You can cry for them even if they're not. And when they're done, you can just say thank you for sharing. If they don't want to talk, don't force them to. Just say, I'm always here. Living with trauma is difficult, and even after a long time in therapy, I feel like my trauma are like thought bubbles that are constantly around my head, just waiting to pop up and say, hey, I'm here, and ruin my life. And but with the tools that I've been given, I know I can manage a lot easier than I ever had before. And every once in a while, one of those thought bubbles will just spring up and throw a curveball into my life, and it just happens. It just does. And it's going to. But everything is still going to be okay in the end. And to the person that I'm thinking of in this video, I want you to heal. I want you to know that you are loved, no matter what. There's so much out there that is good for you. And I want you to enjoy it every single minute, every day of your life, forever. I love you. Just in case you see this.